So, welcome everyone to Thrivecast, Unlocking Your Full Potential. I'm Oscar. I'm an emotional fitness coach, and I help people and reclaim their energy and embody their higher self. And I'm here with my co-host, Katarina Hanssens Carlsson. Katarina, introduce yourself.
Okay, so it's a little different, as you say, every week, Oscar. And I'd like to announce that I'm actually the author of Set to Win, which is now on Amazon. And it's Set to Win. What is that? It's the neuroscience of your entrepreneurial success. So if you are an entrepreneur and would like to scale, then get that book. If you are starting off, or if you're even in the corporate world and you want to be an entrepreneur, read the book. It'll take you right the way through your entrepreneurial blueprint for success. Okay, so today,
Wonderful.
thank you. I have, we have a very interesting topic. It's one that's really close to my heart, and it's called spiritual sovereignty. So, what is that? Would you like to answer, Oscar, or shall I answer?
All right, let's see. I'll answer. And
You'll
you,
answer.
you, yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
Okay.
All right, so spiritual sovereignty, that you somehow are not separated, you're a part of, but you're also connected. What does that mean? So spiritual sovereignty is essentially that you are in direct connection with source. It is what is empowering you. It is what is fueling you. It is what you turn to for guidance, is what you turn to for healing. It's an innate part both inside of you and around you, and and in the whole world, right? I do something that's called consecration, where I simply dedicate all the fruits and labors of this day to God's glory. Essentially, it's not it's let's say it's an offering, or it's a sacrifice in that sense. But it's like, yeah, it's an offering, but it's a very humble offering. It's a very gentle offering. Um, and that puts you in communion with that higher force, whether you call it the universe, you call it God, you call it Jesus, you call it Ramfa, you call it Tara, you whatever it is that is so close to your heart, you simply merge with that essence and you allow that to heal you. You can ask it for actually coming to your aid and so forth. When you have released all your idea or false pride about you are in this only for yourself, you are a self-made man or a woman, and you're prideful about it. When you let that go, you let the universe flow into you. That's what I would say. Katrina,
I love it.
give us your
Thank
perspective.
you. Thank you, Oscar. So, what is spiritual sovereignty? Is reclaiming our spiritual power. We've given it away to churches, to religions, to our parents, to our education system, to our governments. We've given our power away, but it's our power. So it's about reclaiming your spiritual power. And your spiritual power is all power. So, what have we done in the past? We've had two sovereigns, the king and queen, for example, sovereign. And what do? We support them by our taxes, so they can do whatever they want, right? And in return, they're supposed to be a leader, a role player for us. But if we look at our I'm sorry, I have to look at the UK sovereignty at the moment. It's full of scandal. And I mean, it's crazy. Millions and millions of tax pounds are going to sovereigns who don't even know who they are or how to lead. I'm just going to say that right out. And it's time we take our power back. We look at our global leaders right now, it's a mess. We're still at war in Gaza. I mean, millions have been killed, women and children, starving and without resources, without homes. Families killed. I mean, so it's time to take back our power. And how do we do that? Do we need a religion? No. Do we need a monarchy? And I'm not saying we should be an anarchy. I'm saying we need to be responsible for our own spirituality, our own sovereignty. Sovereignty means you completely free, emotionally, spiritually, financially, in every possible way. So, with Oscar's permission, with your permission, Oscar, I'd like to do a whole series on sovereignty because I think that's what we most are striving for. But very few people have actually named the name of sovereignty. The French wanted liberté, égalité, fraternité, liberty, freedom, fraternity, equality. Yes, but what did they get? An emperor. They executed, guillotined thousands of aristocrats. That's not the way to go, is it? It doesn't work. So what is spiritual sovereignty? Is claiming your power back, because you can go straight to God. You don't have to have a church to go to God. You don't have to have a mentor. You can have a spiritual mentor, absolutely. But rely on yourself. We need to stop giving our power away to others. So that's it. You're smiling, Oscar. So next question. How do we achieve spiritual sovereignty?
Well, I'm smiling because I wrote a post about this today. It's in Swedish though. It's not in English, but it's in Swedish.
Yeah.
But essentially it's this. How do you achieve it? Well, first of all, you have to let go of your perceived victimhood. If you believe that you are somehow not capable of changing how the world impacts you, or that you are a victim, or something has happened to you in the past, and you are stuck in that mindset, you will keep on seeing proof of that being true. And that is learned victimhood. You have to let go of any type of pride or shame that you feel about that you are in any circumstances in your life a victim. Because you're not. You are a creator. You create everything in your life. When you utterly take that responsibility and you understand that it is your perception of reality that forms it, then you are the one who can decide what type of perception you desire to have. And even more so, if you truly want to spirit to guide your perception, that's when you tap into your spiritual sovereignty. That's when that's the surrender of your own egoic perception of what you think you need, and you ask God, Source, Jesus, to provide you with what he or she or it knows that you will thrive at having. Because what you can perceive that you think that you need is nothing like the source and the abundance that source can provide you with. The spirit, the human ego or the human sovereignty, yes, it's beautiful. But if you tap into what actually the kingdom in heaven is promising you, then you start thriving from your soul because you've been longing for it all along. So let go of your victimhood. Reclaim your energy by understanding that you need to breathe in as much as you have been, breathing out, right? If you are one who helps people, become the one who asks for help. If you're the one who always asks for help, become the one who gives help, right? So you understand the polarity of how these things work. And you don't, if you have trouble asking for help from other people, then ask from help for God. But that's equivalent to breathing in as well. You see? So that's how this whole relationship becomes rekindled. So let go of any type of pride that you are the one who makes all of this happen, because it happens in communion with spirituality. And as you let that go, life will flow. Yes.
Beautiful. Thank you, Oscar. Yeah, the kingdom of heaven. We are actually born creators with God to create our kingdom of heaven. Oscar and I talked just a few minutes ago about the second coming. Well, people are waiting. Millions and millions of people are waiting for Jesus to come back. Well, some of you know, some of you don't know that Jesus never left. Well, he ascended. He can ascend at any time. He just raises his vibration and ascends. You know, ascension should be a daily word that we use, not just something that one person has done. Thousands have ascended. Unfortunately, more men than women, but more and more will ascend. So, are we co-creators with God? Absolutely. Can we talk to God? Go into nature. Go into a small church, maybe, that really, when that you can feel the presence of God. Recently, I watched a YouTube video by a priest, I think a Catholic priest called Lucas, and he had an out-of-body experience. He encountered Jesus, and Jesus said, in those big churches where it's just about ritual, God is not present. And people come there with their bigotry, and I have to say the word bigotry, their hypocrisy that we are the chosen ones, we're going to heaven and everybody else is going to hell. No, they are not going to hell. Just because they don't go to your church or get dressed up or they do something so-called bad. You are not the chosen ones. Everyone is chosen. Everyone is chosen by God because we are all God's children. And we can go one step further and say, you are God. So if you are God, all you have to do is to go into nature and talk to the trees, talk to nature, and nature will respond. Sometimes in silence, often in silence, but there's an emotion there. You can find God within yourself. How? Because God is you. Now that's easy, isn't it? You don't have to go through a priest. You don't have to go through a religion. You don't have to, fight a whole nation because they happen to have a different religion than you. No, you don't.
Yeah.
No one is. fighting for God, because we're all God's children and we are all one. So we need to take back our power. Now, is religion, is God politically incorrect? Yes, but who cares? It's time, I don't know anybody who is truly fulfilled, truly happy without God. Billionaires. Some billionaires are extremely unhappy. Why? They've made all their money. They thought they would go to the kingdom of heaven, but the kingdom of heaven is within, co-creating with God. So co-create, talk to God. God has a sense of humor. God will listen to you. Talk to God. God will talk back. So, next question. Are you up for it, Oscar?
Absolutely.
So, how would spiritual sovereignty impact the whole world? So, spiritually sovereign leaders. Yeah, how would it?
Well, first of all, I can tell for the listeners and everyone out there that is coming. That's like, it's a given. It's already happening. 2027 going to be massive in its shift towards that, because that's when we change base frequency that has been here for 400 years. So that sovereignty is already beginning. And it means that you will become an interdependent part of humanity, which means that you will start developing the true safe and prosperous and expansive relationship that cells that are thriving is creating. And that will happen in communion with that spiritual force that will always and is always and will always be ever present in your life. Right? That's us. We are nourished by God, and we will be forced, everyone will be forced to recognize it, because that is essentially, because sometimes they talk about this prophecy of burning and catharsis and all of these horrible scenes or whatever. Now, the thing about this is that the ego get burnt by God. Why? Well, because when energy that is pure bounces into your human system, it will hit every type of blockage that is in your energetic field, and it hurts, right? Because it will shine a light on everything that no longer is true and cannot any longer be true, in order for this world to truly flourish in the way it was supposed to be. And any soul that decides that it's not ready, it will part with it. And it will be time for it another time. But that's why the clock is ticking, but it means that when this comes, we need to be ready to embrace the wholeness of what that means. Because imagine when every single human being start think and act and be sovereign, that means that the buildup of the society that we have now will crumble. It will become something entirely different, right? It will no longer be a form of tribal idea where a person exists as a cog in a wheel. That will no longer happen. What will happen is a beautiful, probably a lot of small, societies or villages or whatever, where resonance is what decides of how things communicate with one another. People are already finding their soul group. People are already finding beautiful communities and heartfelt things, you know. So that is what's coming. The same way that heart cells are communicating with one another and liver cells with each other and kidneys with one another, it's going to be the same thing, but it will all be based on resonance. And the resonance will essentially be what probably God, or in the Bible, is said the body of Christ. The body of Christ, because we all become a cell, and that cell will thrive in being what it does. You see, when you turn to God and when you find your genius inside of yourself and when you express that into the world, it's just awesome. You just utterly love it, and everyone else love it too, because they get fulfilled by your message. That's what's coming. That's what's already here, actually. And it's going to just expand more than you could possibly imagine. So, yeah, that is what will happen.
I love it. All right. At the moment, if you look at the world, it seems like we're going through hard times, and we are. And that always happens before the whole vibration of our planet elevates, which it will. So you were talking about villages, Oscar. I think not many people know that Jeshu ben Joseph was an Essene. And what is an Essene? It's a community of people who are already sovereign. They're already equal. They work together. They love each other. They sing when they work. Essenes have been persecuted throughout the ages, but they still exist because that's who we truly are. That is equality. That is everybody working together in joy, everybody creating together in joy, everybody singing together. Right? Well, it sounds kind of utopian, but it's not, what shall I say, Pollyannic. It's not like some fairy tale that I've just made up. It's real. It's real. I mean, I look at the architecture of the world and you think, I used to think that palaces were beautiful, but now I see how ugly they are. I look at churches that are huge. What are they for? Are they to empower us or intimidate us? I think most people feel intimidated. Look at our skyscrapers. What are we doing? For me, they look like coffins. Coffins. Because we are the walking dead. Most people are. But what's coming is the co-creation of heaven. It's already within us. We already feel it. So co-create with God. Bring that kingdom to this planet. Enough of tyrannical leaders, enough of leaders who are so cowardly, they won't stand up and say, end war now. And what will be in the future? In the future, there will be no disease. There will be no poverty. We've created that. Now we can uncreate it. How? Through spiritual sovereignty. So that's what I have to say. Do you have anything to add, Oscar?
Yeah, I can just say, like, when you said a scene and you gave me that perspective, that mirrors something really profound, just like just caressed my heart.
Beautiful.
I felt so like, yeah, that's it. And it's so simple, actually. It's so simple because purity is simple. Another thing that came up was you said churches and all these gigantic things. I've been looking at Pinterest for beautiful pictures. And at one time, I just saw this pattern. It was like this beautiful blue, purple mosaic, right? Small, small parts. I was like, oh, I love that picture. And I clicked on it. Apparently, it's a mosque, actually. A mosque that is built up of small, small mosaics. And I saw how that creates this grand structure, but it's such a vibe in just those small parts. And it's like it's us, right? Think about your human being or us as humanity as a mosaic, a beautiful mosaic, where every little piece fits together to create this grand puzzle or this grand mosque or this grand whatever it is. And it was just extraordinary. So I wanted to share that as well, right? Because we're building a beautiful mosaic together. The picture is just coming more and more clear the more people that finds their sovereignty. And I mean, this is yeah, we're going into a beautiful future.
Here we are. Here we are. So we can either choose to live in a coffin, a skyscraper, or a mosque, our own temples. And if you look at, all the movies, the happiest people are the ones who are in a village and they're dancing and, getting along together, laughing together, singing together. That's what's going to happen. And creating together with our divine intelligence, our sovereign intelligence. That's another story.
Yeah.
It's another topic
Yeah.
to discuss.
Now it's something stirs inside of me where you say that as well. I need to keep on speaking here, but like I remember like Amalfi Coast or like I somewhat always felt such a deep resonance with small villages that's like are built on on hills, and every one of them is unique. They are built in these ways, right? And I find it so beautiful
Yeah.
when nature and houses are merged together, not, pillaged or grounded or whatever to make it practical, but actually a co-creation and making it work in these small alleyways. It has such a deep resonance inside of me when I see that and when I experience that and when I walk in it. So yeah, I mean, imagine that when we're creating our own houses or we're creating it in that way,
Beautiful.
that's just beautiful.
Even living in a hillside or in a cave, but something that is merges with nature. I mean, and I
Yeah,
think of the Greek islands with all these little white houses.
yeah,
It's much more beautiful than the architecture we're creating in our cities. The cities are very, very ugly, very ugly. We need to admit that. There's so much concrete, so little of nature. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah, yeah,
so we could go on and on, but we will see
yeah,
you next week. Uh,
yeah,
Click on subscribe and like if you like this, and we'll be back.
yeah, exactly. And how do people find you, Katarina?
How do people find me? Through LinkedIn? Thank you, Oscar, for reminding me. Katarina Hanssens Carlsson or Catherine Carlsson. And I'm also going to leave the link to Amazon, to my book, if you would like to buy that. And Oscar, how do we connect with you?
Well, I have quite a few sources right now, but let's start with I have realitydecoding.com. If you click there, you can have a 30-minute conversation with me, and we find out where you are and where you want to go and what is stopping you. And then you can also go to Live Your Purpose if you want a community of empaths, of deep feelers, of intuitives, of someone that's really seeking spiritual wisdom. You can go there. And you can also go to YouTube, Oscar Nygren, to check that out. And I'm also on LinkedIn as Oscar Nygren, so you can check that out too. All right, guys, that's it for today. Take care. Bye.
Bye for now.